Buza Commissioner.
Welcome to Buza Commissioner. The question that came in from Francis from Nakaseke is about exporting vanilla to Egypt. I have a trade agreement with a colleague in Egypt. I want to sell to him vanilla. Please let me know all the taxes that I have to pay. Now, Francis, first of all, there are no taxes on exports of vanilla to any country around the world. So your first assurance is that you'll not be asked to pay any taxes before you export. The only taxes that you'll meet later will be income tax when you have started making profits from your business. As you know, income tax is only paid as a percentage of the profits. So once you start the export business, depending on how much you invest, how much you'll be selling your vanilla, and how much you'll be able to profit at the end of the year, you may or may not have any taxes to pay. As you know, income tax is paid annually. So you'll make your returns and say, these were my sales, these were my expenses, this was my gross profit. And if the gross profit is in the positive, in other words, you profited, you'll be required to pay income tax, which is 30% of your gross profit. After minusing all your expenses, what stays as your profit, you pay 30% as income tax. But practically speaking, for your new business, which is going to be a startup, I would like to say you have no taxes to pay as you deal into this business of exporting your vanilla to Egypt.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Buza Commissioner.
The next question is from Mr. Joseph Nsubuga Patrick from Tanzania. This is from the East Africa. Welcome, Joseph Patrick. And your question is, limit to cars for a returning citizen. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Now, interesting, Joseph from Tanzania is asking about a returning citizen bringing a car back to Uganda. But also important to know that Tanzania and Uganda, we are all now under a common customs act. We call it East African Community Customs Management Act. So the same law that applies in Tanzania applies here in Uganda and all the other members of the East African community. And this is what the law says. It says for a returning citizen, yes, there is a limit on the number of cars you can bring in tax-free. And that limit is 1 car. That car must be a car for personal use. In other words, you cannot bring in a trailer. That would be a commercial vehicle. If you want to bring a trailer, you would have to pay taxes on it. But if you've been working abroad and you're returning as a citizen, not just for a visit, but to returning permanently, you're entitled to bringing in 1 car tax-free. The condition is that you should have owned that car for at least 12 months. So if you've been using a car abroad, it is registered in your names, and you have owned it for 12 months or more, you are free to return it back to the country of your residence tax-free. You will pay no tax. There is a process. You'll have to apply, bring evidence that you are returning, and bring evidence that the car is yours and you've owned it for at least 12 months. Then you'll get a red number plate, tax-free, and you'll drive it for the rest of its life.
Buza Commissioner. Buza Commissioner.
The next question is from Ali Dredd from Iganga. And Ali Dredd asks this question. I want the commissioner to help me get my motorcycle back, which was seized at Iganga URA Center. I'm helpless and I need your help. Thank you. Now, Mr. Ali, you have not given me reasons why your motorcycle was seized. But again, under the East African Customs Management Act, when a vehicle or a motorcycle is involved in conveyance, as a means of conveyance, carrying smuggled goods, and the smuggled goods are seized, also the means of conveyance, whether it's a motorcycle or a vehicle, is seized. And under that act, there is a schedule for penalties for anybody who gives in their motorcycle or vehicle to be involved in smuggling. So my advice to you, Mr. Ali, is that you approach the Iganga office. Iganga office is under the supervision of Bustema office. If you don't find help at Iganga, feel free to go to Bustema, and please settle the matter for which your motorcycle was impounded. If it was seized for carrying smuggled goods, pay the fine for that offense and have back your motorcycle. There is no interest in having your motorcycle, but under the law, we are required to make sure that we penalize the transporter not to repeat that act again. Otherwise, we'll have trouble with every motorcycle dealing in smuggling, and when you get the smugglers, you only deal with the goods and not the means of conveyance.
Buza Commissioner.
I'd like to thank all our clients, our valued taxpayers, the people that we serve as we collect revenue for building our nation. I thank you very much for the questions you have sent through this program of Buza Commissioner. On behalf of URA, I would like to pledge that we are committed and we will continue to answer all the questions that you ask through this platform. The whole purpose for this program is to ensure that your pain points, your questions are efficiently responded to. So I would like to encourage all our taxpayers who have questions to ask to please utilize this program that we are running on UBC, that will be receiving your questions through the numbers that you've been given, and URA will be available to answer these questions every Monday and every Wednesday during the 8 o'clock news bulletin. And then on Sunday, after the news, we'll have a full response to all the questions that will have come in during the week. I thank UBC for supporting us in reaching our taxpayers, and I thank our taxpayers for responding positively to this program. Thank you very much.
Buza Commissioner.